Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Jenny Halpin, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Warrant Officer Class 2, Kitson Harcher. This evening, we are honoured to acknowledge Mrs. Christine Simpson-Stokes, Fellow of the Australian War Memorial. We also warmly welcome Group Captain Alan George, retired, representing the Air Force Association. As always, we welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of Thurecht Primary School visiting from Thurecht in the Northern Territory. Now, if you are able, could I please invite you to stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Students and those who require a seat, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where family and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Sergeant Norman Ray Thurecht. Norman Thurecht was born on the 14th of December 1922 in Gympie, Queensland. He was the eldest of 4 children born to Norman David Thurecht, a salesman, and his wife Eileen Isabel. He went to school at Gympie State High School, where he was a keen student and sportsman. After his schooling, Norman went to work as a clerk for the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. He was working there when the Second World War broke out in 1939. Norman Thurecht enlisted in the Royal Australian Air Force in July 1941. He began a long period of training at a variety of schools across Australia, where he learned bombing and air gunnery, navigation and wireless operation. In April of 1942, he qualified as an air observer and travelled to Sydney to prepare for embarkation. He left Australia on the 16th of June 1942, going via the United States to England, where he arrived on the 25th of August. Thurecht was soon posted to 27 Operational Training Unit in October. There, night bomber crews trained on the Vickers Wellington medium bomber at RAF Litchfield. In February 1943, Thurecht commenced training at 1656 Heavy Conversion Unit, where crews learned to operate the new heavy bombers, including the Halifax and Lancaster. On completion of this training in March, he was allocated to his first operational unit, 156 Squadron of the Royal Air Force, based out of RAF Warboys in Cambridgeshire. The squadron was equipped with Lancasters and, as a member of 8 Group, was one of the original Pathfinder units, responsible for leading bomber forces to their targets. Thurecht's first major action took place on the 3rd of April 1943, when he and his crew were involved in a raid on the city of Essen in Germany. This raid was part of a larger bombing offensive against Germany, which targeted cities and towns in the Ruhr Valley, the country's industrial heartland. Essen, in particular, was home to many important aspects of Germany's industrial production, including the Krupp's factory, which produced steel, artillery, and armaments. Alongside 10 other aircraft from 156 Squadron, Thurecht and his comrades took off from RAF Warboys to attack their target. The attack was largely successful. However, at the conclusion of the raid, it was discovered that Thurecht and the crew of Lancaster W4894 had failed to return. Officially listed as missing in action, nothing was heard from Thurecht or his comrades until the 8th of November that year, when the remains of one of the crew washed ashore at Oosterland in Holland. Following this grim discovery, the entire crew was presumed to have lost their lives during the attack on the Ruhr Valley on the 3rd of April 1943. Their exact fate remained unclear. However, authorities believed that they were most likely shot down by flak or a German night fighter, causing the aircraft to crash into the ocean. With no known grave but the sea, today Thurecht is commemorated on the Air Force's Memorial in Runnymede, England. He was 20 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Sergeant Norman Ray Thurecht, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozieres or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of our director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.